A very good morning wherever you are watching us from your right on time for Kirk TV in the morning. This Feel Good Friday where we have so much lined up for you. We'll be talking matters to do with politics, of course. The BBI ruling yesterday causing jitters in the political arena with its implication set to occur in the next few months towards the August polls. There is so much that has been talked by top elite leaders in the country in regards to the Building Bridges Initiative ruling by the Supreme Court, the largest court in the land, and we'll be talking about that later on in the program. So much is lined up for you because we'll also be talking matters to do with health in between the program, talking about the bipolar awareness later in the program, and we'll also be having our guest artist in the studio. Like we always do, Feel Good Friday is to set the weekend and bring in the pace for you to be able to enjoy wherever you are watching us from. Happy New Month, this 1st of April 2022. Welcome aboard. My name is Chris Sambu, and for the next few hours I'll be keeping you company, informing you on what has been happening all through the week. But as we always do, we begin our program on the roads, trying to look what is happening in different roads so that we can be able to inform you so that you get to where you're going safe and sound, and even save more time if you need to avoid traffic. But this morning is what we have on the traffic. All right, and now as we get into roads, I'll just begin with one of the major roads that links the different places into the Central Business District, or rather the CBD. That is the Ngong Road. Ngong Road, as usual, always looks so much congested, but this particular morning looks so much easier. However, there are some snarl-ups in different places, such as the past Kilimani Road all the way through to Kindaruma Road, linking up until you get into Valley Road and then Kenyatta Avenue, entering the Central Business District. That is what is happening, the different snarl-ups at that particular road, that is Ngong Road. But as it seems, it's all clear, so if you're using Ngong Road, you don't need to worry anything because the road looks so much clear. That is one of the major roads that is always linking into the Central Business District. Let me check on another road that is always a center of talk in regards to linking into the Central Business District. That is Jogoo Road. Jogoo Road, as usual, doesn't look so good even just past Makadara, all the way through to Shauri Moyo, passing this road through Kamukunji and entering the Central Business District. Jogoo Road doesn't look so much good. And I'll just take a look at what is happening on Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road isn't so much fine because past Nyayo Stadium, there is a long traffic all the way to Haile Selassie Avenue, just linking all through to the Central Business District. And as usual, there is yet another road that is one of the major roads in the country. That is the Thika Superhighway. Thika Superhighway looks so much good as you pass all through Garden City, through Drive-In, all the way to Survey, and even past Utalii Training College. But when you get at Muthaiga, as usual, the traffic there now snarls up completely, with the road linking Kiambu Road to Thika Road through Muthaiga, all the way through Pangani. There is so much traffic. If you can avoid that route, at least you'll be safer, because as I look at my map here, right, about now, Thika Road doesn't look so much good, just past Survey, all the way through to Muthaiga, Pangani, Ngara, and then Juja Road, entering into the Central Business District. That is in regards to what is happening on the Thika Superhighway, one of the major roads linking to the Central Business District. I'll take a look at yet another road, the Parklands Road, one of the roads that also descends down all the way to the Central Business District and doesn't look so much good as you head towards through the Westlands Road to Chiromo, and as you descend down all the way, moving through the State House Road, getting into the Central Business District, looks so much good just in between Riverside up until State House Road. But as you head towards the Central Business District, there is so much snarl up, and There is also different snarlaps at Mudhangari, all the way descending down to the Central Business District via Westland Parklands Road, all the way to the Central Business District. And that is what is happening on the major roads. I hope at least now you get a glimpse of what is happening on the roads, because this particular morning it's so chilly in the capital city, so you need to get where you are going safe and sound, and also to be able to save some more time in case you're going to your workplace, because as they say, this is a new month, so you need to get started in a very high note. And on this particular program, we are already and kick-starting to make sure that this first day of the month of April you get what you want, and that is why we are here, because in the next few minutes we'll be talking matters to do with politics and what has been happening all through the week. But right about now, after taking a look at what is happening on the roads, I want us to take a glimpse of what the dailies have written this particular morning. All right, and I just want us to take a look at what is happening on the dailies. I just want to begin with the Daily Nation, that is talks about reggae is dead. The top story by the Daily Nation is about the ruling by the Supreme Court in regards to the Building Bridges Initiative, the BBI, and the top quote there being reggae is dead, of course, knowing that the BBI was termed as a reggae tune being played. And despite the proponents of the BBI saying that it had gone for a short break, the Building Bridges Initiative is now as dead as it seems, because in a surprisingly fair and even-handed decision, the Supreme Court rules that Uhuru can't be sued while in office but had no business changing our constitution. Judges consigned the BBI bill to the same fate as the Dodo as a consequence to shoot down lower court's attempts to make it impossible to change the law, and ruled that basic structure doctrine should just stay in India and not to be brought into the country. And as you see there, the Daily Nation is reporting that particular story on special coverage on pages 2 up until 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, and 13. That is where you can get the in-depth of that particular story, talking about the ruling by the 7-judge bench that decided the fate of the Building Bridges Initiative. And just to quote what the Daily Nation is talking about is that there were some contentious matters on regards to the appeal by the proponents of the BBI, and the Supreme Court judges were to determine on 7 accounts. And Chief Justice Martha Koome talking about the basic structure doctrine not applicable in the country, one of the major issues that brought contention in the courts. And one of the Supreme Court judges, Isaac Lenaola, saying in regards to the president, saying that the president cannot initiate a popular initiative, and in particular dispute it did not play any role in popularizing the Building Bridges Initiative. That is the story by the Daily Nation. And just to quote yet another ruling by one of the judges is Smoking Wanjala, the Supreme Court judge, where he said there is nothing like a basic structure doctrine. It is more of a school of thought that is not applicable in Kenya. 4 steps not applicable to process of an amendment. And then Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu, initiating amendments through a popular initiative by the president is unconstitutional, and so is the proposal to add the 70 new constituencies. The Daily Nation now summarizing what the judges had to make of the BBI appeal. And talking about that, we go to page 2 of the BBI, and in that particular page where they have analyzed what each judge said on the 7 questions, the 7 questions which included the defining the basic structure doctrine of the Kenyan Constitution, whether it can be subjected to amendments, and also to determine whether the president can initiate a popular initiative, and whether President Uhuru Kenyatta was right to be part of the Building Bridges Initiative, and also the immunity of the president in regards to civil proceedings. And also the judges were to determine whether the IEBC was ready to engage in public participation, and also had enough quorum to be able to take over the process of the Building Bridges Initiative. And that is what The judges determined, each judge giving out a single ruling, and apart from that, there was also a consolidating ruling by the judges. That was just a summary of the consolidated ruling that at a bigger picture put out the Building Bridges initiative and struck the last nail to the coffin. Going by the rulings of the High Court and also the Court of Appeal. On page 4 of the Daily Nation doesn't talk much about what has been happening, but it is the President Uhuru Kenyatta's yesterday attendance in the military academy in Lanet, where he saw the pass out of 40 general service officers of the military. That is the first of its kind to be trained in the newly launched and chartered the Defense Forces University of the Kenya Defense Forces. President Uhuru Kenyatta there leading the inspection of a guard of honor, and that is the Daily Nation talking about that. And most of the stories there regarding the Building Bridges initiative by the Daily Nation on the Kenyans' reactions in regards to what the judges said yesterday and its implication. Remember, that is a discussion that we'll be holding in a few minutes from now, where we'll be talking on matters of what has been happening all through this particular week, and the summary of that is the climax of the Building Bridges initiative ruling yesterday by the Supreme Court. I cross over to the Standard newspaper. And the Standard seeks to summarize what transpired yesterday, and putting on the front page, you can see the faces there, the real faces of the country in regards to leadership and the Building Bridges initiative. The face of President Uhuru Kenyatta, ODM party leader Raila Odinga, Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu, and also Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi there, and Deputy President William Ruto. And it talks about what they had to say in regards to that. And in an ironical twist, Uhuru's personal involvement in the push to amend the constitution was now cited by the Supreme Court judges as the reason for barring the Handshake Brothers' dream for a new dispensation. The justices ruled the process unconstitutional, and the role of delimiting constituencies belongs to the IEBC. And just what ODM party leader Raila Odinga had to say in regards to that ruling is that we will not stop deliberations on the way forward to a future that protects the interest of those who voted for the amendments. That is what ODM party leader Raila Odinga had to say. And also again, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who is the Wiper party leader, they are saying nobody can afford to say that BBI is dead. If anything, the court's finding on basic structure have made our route much clearer. Soon after the election, we will revisit and make a very quick job of it. And the biggest reaction on that particular ruling is by the Deputy President William Ruto, who proudly now can say the end of reggae is the end of political treachery. The Handshake Brothers and promoters of BBI must now apologize to Kenyans. That is what the Deputy President William Ruto had to say in regards to the ruling by the 7 bench judges. The ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi, who is now a close ally of Deputy President in the Kenya Kwanza coalition, saying that BBI is null and void. Those responsible for it must be held to account for the resources that were put in that criminal exercise. That is the top story there by the Standard newspaper, summarizing what top leaders and the proponents of BBI and those against the BBI had to say after the ruling by the court. And on page 3 of the Standard newspaper is about what President Uhuru Kenyatta did yesterday, leading the pass out of the first cohort of graduate of General Service Officer cadets being trained on the military academy, the newly chartered University of the Defense of the Kenya Defense Forces, and history as first female officer leads cadets at military parade. Of course, being a significant figure in what transpired yesterday, where the first female to lead a cadet military parade. That is the story by the Standard newspaper, where you can be able to read and just know what has been happening. And the Supreme Court judges declare the BBI process unconstitutional. The inner depth of that story on page 4 of the Standard newspaper. And just in summary, the Standard newspaper reporting on what each judge as well had to say in regards to the ruling by the 7-judge bench on the BBI appeal by its proponents, including ODM party leader Raila Odinga and also President Uhuru Kenyatta. And just to take a look at what is on the People Daily talks about. As well, on the top page of the People Daily, it talks about Raila to revisit BBI while Ruto wants an apology. And that is a story by the People Daily, also responding to the ruling yesterday by the judges who put an end to what has now been termed as reggae stopped. And ODM takes some positives from the ruling, saying judges had upheld the BBI process, while Deputy President William Ruto says project had wasted 4 valuable years for Kenyans, and that is why judges found the law review drive illegal, with President Uhuru Kenyatta's involvement in the entire process. Most of the judges agreeing that President Uhuru Kenyatta was among the initiators of the BBI, that is the Building Bridges Initiative, and putting aside and disclaiming that a president cannot be able to lead a popular initiative in quest to amend the constitution. On page 3 of the People Daily talks about Ruto-Raila clash after court drives final nail in BBI coffin. The in-depth of that story there by the People Daily, just on page 3 of the People Daily. And People Daily goes on to report as well in matters to do with different opinions that have come across after that particular story, and why the court had to find the review drive of the constitution illegal on the page 4 and 5. That is the story there written by the People Daily. And on page 6, 7, different from what has been reported by the other newspapers in regards to the BBI, the People Daily on page 6 talks about MPs approve of shillings 10 billion for fuel price stabilizations. Of course, that is one of the major concerns for Kenyans in regards to the ballooning economy and rising the prices of commodities, of basic commodities. And that is a story by the People Daily. You can get a copy and be able to read more about that and know what the 10 billion shillings mean for the Kenyan economy. And as well on page 7, it talks about the marking of KCSE to start on Monday after the exam ends today. Now the officially marking will begin immediately on Monday, as the Ministry of Education seeks to beat time in announcing the results of the candidates who sat for that particular examination. And that is what is being reported by the People Daily. Just a last story on the People Daily there on page 8 that talks about showdown looms in ODM as party kicks off nomination. Of course, the highlight of that being yesterday's agreement by the ODM party to grant Homa Bay woman representative Gladys Wanga the direct ticket to be able to vie for the gubernatorial seat of Homa Bay County. Of course, one that has caused jitters in the ODM party, as former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero has moved in quick to put away that particular statement by ODM that Gladys Wanga will be the ODM flag bearer with a direct ticket in the August polls. And that is a story by the People Daily. And the Daily is, of course, today measuring a lot on what has happened yesterday in regards to the Building Bridges Initiative. And apart from that, we have a story by the Business Daily. I just want to take that particular story that talks about what has been happening in the last few weeks, and we can say few months as well, because the gas, cooking oil, soap prices hit home budgets in March inflation. And as the Business Daily reports that things are not likely to change. If at all things remain constant, gas, cooking oil and soap prices will continue to skyrocket, even as the government now seeks to salvage the Kenyan people from the ballooning economy. And that is what the dailies are reporting this particular morning. And I just want us to get into a discussion this particular morning, because if you look at the dailies, the ruling by the BBI isn't something small, because it is the first attempt by the Kenyan elite political team to be able to amend the Kenyan constitution, or rather I would say it is the first task for the Kenyan constitution to be able to be amended. But this first task has again failed, because the courts had its own findings that the legalities of that particular process were not followed, and as well putting out everything, not entirely everything, but most of the significant factors that brought the BBI down. And I just want to take a clip of the ruling by Martha Koome, what she said on that particular ruling, and then now we get into our discussion. And in case you're joining us, remember we are streaming live on YouTube and also on Facebook. You can leave your comment as we get to start this particular discussion. But about now, I just want us to take a look at what the Chief Justice had to say in regards to the final ruling on the BBI appeal.
Considered the 7 issues framed by this court for determination. The final orders are as follows. 1. The basic structure doctrine is not applicable in Kenya. Ibrahim, Supreme Court Judge, dissenting. B. In order to amend the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the 4 sequential steps as pronounced by the 2 superior courts below are not necessary. Ibrahim, Supreme Court Judge, dissenting. On the second issue, the first part A, the President cannot initiate constitutional amendments or changes through the popular initiative under Article 257 of the Constitution. Njoki Ndongo, Supreme Court Judge, dissenting. The B aspect of that, issue 2, the President initiated the amendment process in issue. IBC had the requisite composition and quorum to undertake the verification process under Article 257(4). Ibrahim, Supreme Court Judge, dissenting. 7, the question raised regarding the interpretation of Article 257(10) of the Constitution on whether or not it requires that all specific proposed amendments to the Constitution should be submitted as separate and distinct referendum questions was not ripe for determination. Njoki Ndongo, Supreme Court Judge, concurring. Each party shall bear their own cost, this being a public interest matter. Consequently, the consolidated appeal is determined as follows. The appeal is allowed on issue number 1. The appeal is allowed on issue number 4. The appeal is allowed on issue number 5. The appeal is allowed on issue number 6. The appeal is allowed on issue number 7. The appeal is disallowed on issue number 2. The appeal is disallowed on issue number 3. Those are the orders of the court.
And that is what Chief Justice Martha Koome had to say after each judge gave their own ruling. And that is where I want to introduce my panel this morning in our studios so that we can get into that particular discussion. And on my near right is Biko Ashoya, who is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And close to him is Itzak Otondo, who is a member of County Assembly aspirant of Tambua Ward, that is in Vihiga County. And on the far right is Douglas Oleso Odhiambo, who is a political strategist and of course a member of the Azimio la Umoja. I have to mention that. And welcome, gentlemen, into the program this morning. And I just want to we begin right from where Martha Koome left it from. She talked about different factors that were to be determined in regards to the legality of the BBI. Out of that ruling, I just want to begin with you, Biko. Out of that ruling by the 7-judge bench, and of course Martha Koome culminating it with the final statement, Is the BBI bill dead as it is?
The outright, thank you so much, and good morning. The outright answer to that is a yes. The BBI bill is dead. The only other route that, or the only other life that the BBI can be given is not a resuscitation, but it should be given a new life. Insofar as the process that started with the handshake and culminated into the BBI, that process is dead, yes.
I just want, after you've said it's dead, I cross over to Leso before I come to you, Itzhak, because you're active in politics. The BBI, that ruling by the court, what does it mean for the quest to amend the 2010 Constitution?
First of all, good morning, Kenya. To answer your question, Sam, Chris. First of all, I don't understand why the mainstream media get the statement that BBI is dead. Because from my understanding and from where I sit, when the Attorney General went to the Supreme Court, he went to seek advice on the way forward after the two lower courts had made their ruling. And when you look at the ruling that was made yesterday by the Supreme Court, I think any person will agree with the Attorney General that even though the BBI may not be able to proceed in the meantime, I don't think it's dead. Because either way, whether the ruling, even if the judges will have allowed the process to proceed, maybe they said it's okay, BBI is constitutional, it can proceed. I didn't foresee any scenario where these people, or rather the BBI promoters, will have held a referendum between now and the election. So the window that we have as of now is, yes, they have made their ruling, but the issues that were raised at the Supreme Court, what have the judges said about it? The judges have made a ruling on seven issues. Out of 7, 5, they have agreed with the promoters of BBI. How then do you say that out of the 7 issues, the judges agreed 5 issues, they only throw out 2? Is that then to say that BBI is dead? I think they've just given us a window to proceed in future, and then maybe we have a clear part to do in future.
And now I just come to you, Otondo, so that I can get also your view in regards to that ruling. What do you take of that ruling by the 7-judge bench?
Good morning, Kenya. Thank you so much, Chris, for this warm welcome at Kirk TV. My take is I'm very happy. I'm very happy for that ruling. Many Kenyans are very happy. You can see everyone is happy. Anyone who is not happy about the ruling, I think is not a Kenyan and should be disbanded from this country. And that's my take.
Why would you say that anybody who is not happy is not a Kenyan?
You know, Chris, you can see nowadays Kenyans are not as stupid as they were in Yuma. You see, most Kenyans are now informed. The BBI process, actually, it was very expensive in this era where our economy is so pathetic. I think you can see most of the Kenyans are so much agitated because if you look at the budget that was allocated for BBI, if that was actually narrowed to or channeled to another program like oil, we'll be talking something else. So BBI ruling, it makes everyone happy. Even the common mananchi is happy. Everything about the ruling is just, even him is just smiling. He's happy.
Oleso is smiling. I don't know. What do you take of that statement?
I don't know the research that he has done to ascertain that all Kenyans are happy. Yeah. And to me, as a country, or just any other country, you cannot say that because the economy is bad, then other processes cannot proceed. Of course, we are the people, Kenyans are the people, and we have the right to decide which part to take. If Kenyans want to change the constitution, they have that mandate to change the constitution. And Kenyans to decide. So you cannot really say that since the economy is not doing well, so we cannot change the constitutions. And furthermore, the changes, you look at the content of what they want to change. Is it aimed at improving the lives of people? The answer is absolute yes. So if you have to amend the constitution so that we can improve the lives of people of Kenya, what is the problem?
But there's a point that Isaac put out on the BBI is very expensive because here's the process, or rather the BBI process, a savior for the Kenyans, or we saw it as a luggage because you mentioned about it being very expensive process as well, and Mr. Oleso there saying that it was destined to change the lives of Kenyans. What do you take of those two opinions?
Now, even before I get to the opinion of whether the BBI was to be the silver bullet for Kenyans or whether it was to be the savior, I just want to disagree with my colleague who said that there's a point that you said, and I really did not agree with it, because if you look at the issues that had been brought for determination before the Court of Appeal, there were 7 issues. Yes, on the issue of the five issues that were allowed, yes, vis-a-vis the 2 that were disallowed. If you look at those issues that the Supreme Court, made a determination on the issue of whether the president could initiate that process, and all those issues. I think it is. I disagreed, of course, with the Supreme Court, and especially on the issue of the basic structure, of whether the Constitution of Kenya has a basic structure, and whether, of course, the Supreme Court agreed that the Constitution has a basic structure. As to whether the basic structure doctrine is applicable in the Kenyan context is where the disagreement came in, and they were saying that the basic structure doctrine is not applicable to the Kenyan context, which of course I disagreed with them. And then the basis of why they were saying that the basic doctrine structure is not applicable in Kenya is that it hasn't gained the international notoriety to make it applicable to Kenya under Section 2.5 of the Constitution of Kenya. But then, even be that as it may, the question as to whether BBI is the silver bullet and whether it was to be the savior of Kenyans, you see, the Building Bridges initiative is an initiative that there was that goodwill by the Kenyans who came up with that proposal of the building bridges. If you look at the philosophy behind the Building Bridges initiative, then you are going to appreciate why the promoters of the building bridge, the BBI came up with that philosophy, or with that principle. It is a principle, or it is something that should be pursued even beyond the 2022 elections. Yes. Let us build bridges in all the bridges that had been broken over the years since 1963, whether it is political bridges, whether it is ethnic bridges, and and all those bridges that had been broken. So for me, it is not the verdict of the Supreme Court is not an end to itself. This is a debate that has been started in goodwill. It is a debate that we should proceed. We should go on with it even after the 2022 general elections.
Tondo, you're smiling. What do you have to say?
These 2 gentlemen are making me happy. At the same time, they're making me sad.
In what ways?
He cut me short, actually. I want to go back to my statement. BBI is very expensive. And a lot of Kenyans are crying. We're in a crisis. I'll speak in an angle of as a leader, as an aspirant. For them, they might not know, because most of the time they sit in offices and maybe they enjoy some good pennies from their pockets.
But we as well come from villages.
But you see, when you become an aspirant, you have a cry that you have to meet for the people that you want to govern or lead within your jurisdiction, right? So my point will be, in a very short statement, BBI to me is null and void, and I'm very happy, as I said. And I just want to respond to him a little bit. When he says that he did not agree with the Supreme Court on some key issues, I am not an advocate as compared to him. He might have some insight in those matters, but under layman's knowledge, I wish to tell him he's an elite informed man. How much was allocated for the BBI campaigns before we head even to the Supreme Court? You can answer that, sir. Just wait. He's becoming guilty. He's becoming guilty. I always want to put people answering the questions, because at the end of the day they will come jubilating and celebrating. The Supreme Court is doing the right thing. Those people, the judges, they mean well for the Kenyans. They will not wish to actually randomize Kenyans into having more slots and positions in this country, whereby we still have just a new regime that started in 2013, where we have devolution in our counties and we cannot manage those. So why do we have more slots after a regime of 10 years to employ more people who have been in government? Actually, it's not making sense. So
but let me ask, even before you ask, even before Chris, you ask the question that I wanted to ask. Was the issue of BBI being expensive, was it an issue for determination before the courts?
It was not an issue.
It wasn't an issue.
Yes.
So meaning that is an issue that was peripheral. We had more serious issues that had to be discussed by the judges of the Supreme Court. The issue of monies and for the amendment of the Constitution wasn't an issue. So we should not even be discussing it here, because if the people who approached our courts from the High Court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court would have thought that it was a fundamental issue, then they would have. Yes.
You are an advocate, eh?
Yes.
Some of the key issues that are actually highlighted as a measure of determination of BBI being approved was public participation.
Yes.
It was key number 6. And you can see under number 6, this one actually was highlighted by Judge Philomena. You see, the CJ.
DCJ.
You see, she said clearly that there was no enough public participation. But what is that?
Yes.
They will not respond to that.
No, we will.
From my two colleagues. First of all, Bwana Biko, I don't know how you disagree with me. I think you're just disagreeing with the Supreme Court judges when you say the issue of basic structure doctrine. But you later on agree with me again. They have given us a way forward, even if not now, but in the future, we have now a clear roadmap of how we need to amend our constitution.
Right. Yeah, that is true.
To say that Kenyans are happy and other things, I think from BBI promoters' side, I will argue that at least for them, we are aware that they were able to collect over the constitutional threshold of changing the constitution is actually only 1 million signatures of Kenyans. The BBI promoters were able to get over 4 million signatures of Kenyans who said they wanted the constitution changed. So from the other side, I don't know how you can be able to ascertain that there were people who were happy, because we have not had data. We have no any sense of proof that people were happy that BBI failed. But be it as it may, I think we are using a very serious discussion to the competition of the political leaders. The issue of changing the constitution should be a national conversation of all Kenyans. But now, when you tag it as a contest of this presidential candidate versus this presidential candidate, then we lose the main objective of what we were to do as a country. You look at the entire thing, and even when he mentions about there was public participation, I think from my knowledge, from what we have heard from the Supreme Court judges, they agreed that there was public participation. And to be able to get 1 million signatures, it shows that the people who are appending their signatures, they have agreed. We didn't even have even a single Kenyan who went before, even in media or anywhere, to protest that I saw my signature among the signatures that were collected by the BBI promoters, yet I didn't append. These guys were able to get 4 million. Not even a single Kenyan complained. So when you see that there were no public participation, yet we have 4 million signatures, not even a single Kenyan has complained, I think that is not fair.
And even to back up his point,
before my brother weighs in, because you are the one who has brought this issue, let us respond to it.
Just put a hand on it and then he completes, and then we move on to
we move to the next one. There was the second issue that was brought for determination, and which was an appeal from the decision of the Court of Appeal and the High Court, was whether the amendment of the constitution is a 4-point sequential. Whether we could, they were calling it a 4-point sequential order or something like that. From the point of drafting of the bill and then collecting signatures and all that, whether it is mandatory for any person who wants to amend the bill to go through that 4-point sequence. The Supreme Court has disagreed, because that was the ruling of the Court of Appeal, where it gave a particular order, a particular order that anyone who wants to amend the constitution should follow. The Supreme Court disagreed with that. And back to his point on the issue of public participation, the Supreme Court was unanimous on the issue of public participation, and this is what it said: as at the point of drafting of the bill and then collection of signatures, by the time someone appends their signature to that particular form for purposes of public participation, there's a presumption, and there's a presumption that they ought to have interacted with the document before appending the signatures. And then this document was taken to the county assemblies. What did the county assemblies do? Majority of them agreed that the amendment was necessary. The amendment was needed. So on the issue of whether there was adequate public participation, the Supreme Court agreed in the circumstances that this process had already taken, there was adequate public participation. But then at the end of the day, this is what the Supreme Court said, that the legislators ought to pass the public participation bill that has been pending in Parliament for the last 5 years. Right? So that it gives the process, it gives the procedure, it gives the threshold. What is the threshold for one to say that then there was adequate public participation? Yes.
And just before we come,
let us just wrap it up on this one.
Okay.
One, let us agree that BBI is null and void. We are happy about that. And then another thing, I'll take my two brothers here confidently. You talked about something and you're an advocate, and I was so shocked. The basic structure doctrine actually is applicable in Kenya.
No, that is not what the judges said.
It is very much applicable in Kenya. and that's why out of seven, we had 5 actually agreeing to it. So I think that let us just not even discuss it, because this thing is a menace even to us. You see, it's giving us stress. And it's very expensive to the Kenyans. Just call it off.
I have the judgment. I have a summary of the judgment with me here. And this is what, on issue number 1, let us just wrap this one up.
The names, let him tag the names.
This is the summary of and it says the basic structure doctrine is not applicable in Kenya. That was issue number 1.
That was one of the
this was the summary of the main.
Whose ruling was that? It's only one judge who said that.
Let me make it easy for my neighbor here. I think you ought to understand how does the Supreme Court make a ruling. Even if one judge says that maybe it is applicable in Kenya, the Supreme Court ruling goes by the majority of what most of the
Which
judges
were
say.
5 of them said it's applicable.
On the issue of basic structure doctrine, one of the what they have agreed that in Kenya it is not applicable.
It is not applicable, and this is the this is the Supreme Court ruling.
The judges never say.
Why is it null and void if it's applicable?
We'll be looking at that particular clip on what they agreed, because the Chief Justice, when she was outlining the decision by the 7 judges, she was mentioning 5 agreed, 5 dissenting.
And this is what I have. And this is what I have before me. And this is what it says. No, my brother, just listen. This is what the court said. Yeah, the basic structure doctrine is not applicable in Kenya. That was 1A, and then it went to 1B. It went to 1B, and it said, in order to amend the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the 4 sequential steps are not necessary as pronounced by the 2 superior courts. Ibrahim, Supreme Court judge dissenting. So
dissenting. Well, that's Ibrahim only, actually. Yeah.
That was only if he's the only one with dissenting, then the others agree on him.
Yes,
it means
the majority decision.
Go back and listen to what happened and read.
But
they did not comprehend. They actually read it behind officers.
Because I think that is a matter of contention, because again the Supreme Court judges, the Supreme Court judges also in contention that this is a matter that needs to be revisited by the scholars and be able to be determined. But apart from the basic structure doctrine, also the Supreme Court rolled out the 70 constituencies schedule to be illegal and unconstitutional. That is one of the factors that now seemingly, as Oleso said, they are saying the BBI is dead, there's a mainstream media. But we can see what the Supreme Court did, a very big blow to the Building Bridges initiative. But what they termed as the bigger picture in putting out the BBI is the president's involvement in the process. He appealed and said that I was not the proponent. I did not start this process, and threw the ball to Junet Mohammed and Dennis Owero. But I just want us to take a look at what different judges had to say in regards to the president's participation in that particular process, because it was one of the factors that they sought to determine whether the president, at his capacity, was legal to be able to be involved in the entire process. So I just want us to take a look at what the judges had to say in regards to the president.
Cannot directly initiate changes or amendments to the Constitution. An amendment of the Constitution can only be initiated through a parliamentary or popular initiative under Articles 256 and 257 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Consequently, therefore, the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2010 is unconstitutional.
It is my finding that the President, in appointing the BBI task force, was discharging his constitutional mandate, promoting and enhancing the unity of Kenya, and consequently, there was no basis for concluding that the President's actions contravene the Constitution to deprive him of immunity provided for under Article 143 of the Constitution.
I am of a firm opinion, having read the relevant provisions regarding that issue, and in context, of the opinion that a president cannot initiate what is referred to as a popular initiative under Article 255 and Article 257 of the Constitution, because those articles talk about an initiative to amend the Constitution by the people. We cannot have...
And that is what the judges had to say in regards to the president being part of the Building Bridges initiative. And despite the rest of them agreeing that the president was not supposed to be in the entire process, it is only one judge who agreed that the president was in his constitutional capacity to take part on the Building Bridges initiative. I just want to begin with you, Ashoya. In that particular context where President Uhuru Kenyatta was the picture of the BBI, was the president misadvised? Was the president misled in terms of being part of the entire process? Because that is what came out clearly, that it was one of the factors that now seemingly have given the blow to the first attempt to amend the Constitution.
Chris, in fact, that was the single most and the biggest reason as to why the BBI is seen as or why the BBI collapsed. And the reasoning behind it, to a big extent, is because the president cannot purport to initiate a process where he is going to be the ultimate person to put his hand to it, to make it, to make it transition from being a bill to being a law. It's like what most players have said. It's like someone being a player in the field and at the same time being a referee. So to the extent that the process started with him, but then at one point a secretariat was formed, and promoters were appointed. To the extent that he's the one who initiated the process, then it can't be a process that can be said to be to have been, it started from a bad footing. Yeah, it started from a false footing. So to the extent that the president is the one who initiated, much as Justice Lenaola disagreed with that proposition that it is the president who initiated the process, but then to the extent that he's even the one who appointed a team, and he's the one who gazetted a team that came up, to run with the process till its tail end, until when it was taken to court. Then it was a false start. It is my opinion that his legal team failed him to that extent. It is a process that ought to have started because it is a popular initiative. Though there was a reasoning even from Supreme Court Judge Njokindung when she defined what a popular initiative is, and it is an initiative that ought to have been started by a citizen. And then now the question is, does the president stop being a citizen by virtue of having taken oath of office as the president? Of course, that is something that now, like many people have said, the scholars will have to take up some of these issues and then just break them down. But then to the extent that it is the president who started that initiative, then we started from a wrong footing. Yes.
And because the president is one of the people who started that particular process, and we can see clearly after the Supreme Court ruling that there was a legal failure on his side, and as well, is it that they omitted some of the crucial, important legalities by the time they're beginning the process, or did they just assume that the process will go as smooth as it should?
Ordinarily, for and for a process, for an initiative, for the change of the constitution, there was a lot of of course these are issues these are issues, and I know that the president has an eminent team of advocates that advise him. It is an issue that they may have deliberated, or they must have deliberated. And that is why you are seeing probably they were trying to correct their perceived mistakes as as they were moving forward. Because ordinarily, then what ought to have happened is that we would have seen that the proponents of the BBI, as was witnessed on the steps of Harambee House on that morning of, was it 9th of March 2020, we would have seen those 2019, we would have seen those proponents being His Excellency the President, the Right Honorable the Prime Minister, being the proponents of the BBI. Because but if you look at how things panned out, they took the back seat. Yes, and gave this thing to Dennis Waweru and Junet Mohammed. So to the extent that or the question that I've been asking myself, would this have been different if BBI was given a different name for Dennis Waweru and Junet Mohammed to run with it? Would things have been different? So that they would not have gone with BBI, but then they would have gone with, let's say, Okoa Mzigo, or those other narratives that we had before. Would the narrative have been different?
Absolutely. Maybe if I weigh in again, I think, in my opinion, from how I understand, when you want to change the constitution through the popular initiative, anybody can have an idea of changing the constitution. You and I could have an idea. We want to change the constitution. But that is just an idea in your mind. Until when you sit down to draft a bill that you want to change the constitution. Now, by the time the president and Right Honorable Odinga had an idea of changing the constitution, just like any other Kenyan, that is not the first step of changing the constitution. From my understanding, the changing of the constitution starts when you draft a bill. Now, when it comes to the stage of drafting that bill, who are the people who are drafting the bill? Was the president part of that team? Absolutely no. And if you say that, just a minute, so that I can finish my point, then you will respond to it.
Let him finish, and then you just come in quickly, because I know you'll be holding on that thought.
Sure. And just like Wakili Biko says, that the president gazetted even the secretariat, even if it were to any other common citizen, and then we get to a point where the president has to draft, to appoint a secretary. It is his role as the president. You cannot run away from it. So according to me, I think maybe I will disagree with the judges on the basis that
by the time the real stages of amending the constitution was speaking, the president had no role. That role was being played by Junet Mohammed and Dennis Waweru. By the time that process was beginning. So these other things that were happening before the drafting of the bill, they are null and void.
But don't you think that the President and Right Honorable Raila Odinga threw the ball to Junet Mohammed and Dennis Waweru after now the claims came up that you cannot be part of this process and will not accept you to change the constitution while you are a sitting president? So now they had to find a way of getting out of the picture. So now Junet was given the baggage. Don't you get that picture?
That is what I'm saying, that even though you could have said that they had participated all through, but then their participation was not part of the popular initiative, because that's not how the popular initiative begins. All we understand that it begins by the time you draft that bill. By the time these complaints were being made, yes, by the time people were complaining, oh, you want to be part of that process, had the bill been drafted yet? The answer is no. So by the time the bill is drafted, that's when that process begins. And when this process is beginning, it is only Dennis Waweru and Junet Mohammed who are now pushing it. So anything that happens before that, it is inconsequential.
And I don't think we can run away from the fact that the present picture was largely seen, because I also remember while they were still launching the bill at the Bomas the first and second time, even when they were going to... Actually, the president was part of it. I don't know how you respond to that.
In fact, that was not the main...
He was actually signing it as a Kenyan. He was giving it the green light as a Kenyan. When he appeared at Bomas, he was appearing in...
Too much, you have no facts.
No. We are giving you facts.
Just a minute. I was to ask him a question. What did the president say during Madaraka Day?
You can say
he actually said the reggae music has not stopped, and he will ensure that the reggae music has done what? Has ended. Let me tell you, it is evident, and is the wakil here. He will tell you openly, no matter how much he'll try to jiggle with words here. Any representative, even not just the president, any representative, you cannot initiate a popular initiative if you are a representative in anything. That is so obvious. So the president actually cannot actually initiate towards BBI when he's a representative of this country. He will actually use other people.
There is something
like
missing from the point I made. My point is, yes, the president may have participated in advocating for BBI referendum. Okay?
And that makes it null and void.
Just wait. But then we say, when does the popular initiative amendment of the constitution begins? It begins when you...
We are not talking about the process. We are talking about the issue why the BBI has been rendered null and void. It's because the president, actually, I want to agree with him in this matter. He said the main key issue why BBI was actually thrown away is because the president took part in. That was your statement, right? Just a minute, I want to respond to you. The main reason why BBI actually has been ruled as null and void, we are waiting for the verdict on Tuesday, yeah? It's because the president took part in it. That was the main issue there. And we should not go into process and writing and do what. As long as the president took part in it, we are not going to discuss that.
I think the biggest context, the contest in regards to
and
that was the president's involvement
the grandfather of BBI is
process.
Let us remind them.
As a president, or rather as a citizen of the country. That is what the judges also sought to determine whether the president took part as this president in his capacity or as a Kenyan citizen. But as they all agreed that the president took part in his capacity as the president, but that is still a matter of contention, and as well putting a clear picture of what we expect if indeed there has to be another attempt to amend the constitution. I don't know, Biko, what you wanted to say before we take a very short commercial break.
Yes, before the commercial break, because I like saying things with facts, like my colleague here is saying. That was the issue of out of the 7 issues, 6 issues were disallowed, and issue number 6, the appeal is disallowed on issue number 2. The president cannot initiate constitutional amendments, changes through a popular initiative under Article 257 of the Constitution. And then it proceeds to say that the president initiated the amendment process in issue, and consequently under Article 257 of the Constitution, the Constitution Amendment Bill of 2020 is unconstitutional. That is one of the issues that were disallowed. And then the other issue that was disallowed was issue number 3, and this is what it says, and this is what the judgment of the Supreme Court says, that the second schedule of the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 is unconstitutional for being in breach of Article 10 and Article 89 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. So if you look at, especially on the issue now that we are discussing the issue of the initiation of the process by the president, the Supreme Court was unanimous about it, right? That the president initiated that process, and that the very fact, the very fact that it is the president who initiated the process, it makes the process unconstitutional. So to that extent, we agree with the Supreme Court judges, much as there was a there was a judge that dissented with that position. So to that extent, then it was unconstitutional. But the question that I've been asking myself, and this will be the last question that I'll be raising. And it ties in with the issue of the process of amendment of the Constitution being expensive. Do you think Awanjiku on the streets of Nairobi, or somewhere in Seme or Ugenya or in Karatina or in Vihiga can initiate the process of amendment of the Constitution through the popular initiative?
As long as he or she is a citizen, yes.
I think you should respond to that after this short commercial break.
Yes,
because we'll also be taking a look at the reactions from the Kenya Kwanza team. Of course, they had been against that particular bill.
Yes.
And as he also comes back to react on the same, we'll also be taking a reaction on the rest of the leaders from the Kenya Kwanza. But I want us to take a very short commercial break, and then we return just in a few while. So continue sending in your messages and also your responses in regards to your contribution into the discussion over the BBI ruling by the Supreme Court, putting aside the attempt to amend the Constitution. So we take a very short commercial break, but when we return back, we continue with our discussion, even as we get the reaction from the Kenya Kwanza coalition.
PCA Ongata Booth Girls High School of Excellence is an outstanding girls boarding high school ideal for learning. Located in a quiet and serene environment in Ongata Rongai, Kajiado County. The school aims to produce highly qualified students who will be readily admitted to world-class high institutions of learning and graduate into outstanding citizens of integrity.
We offer quality education in conformity with the Ministry of Education standards and guidelines. Our tutors are highly qualified and experienced. Our school fees is friendly. We have considered the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are appealing to you that you enroll your girls in Form 1, Form 2 and Form 3. Our school is founded on Christian background, and we are surely assuring you that when you bring your girl, you will not regret.
Founded and grounded on Christian values, discipline is one of its fundamental values.
We take care of our girls spiritually. We have a church just across here where they worship every Sunday, and in between the week, we have a very, very strong Christian union and other activities that they also run. We really encourage you to bring your children here, that they may get the experience of learning in a Christian environment.
The school boasts of modern state-of-the-art facilities such as spacious classrooms, a well-equipped library, science and computer laboratories, a dining hall and a modern kitchen with a robust feeding program. We take keen interest in nurturing students' talents, hence our semi-Olympic sized swimming pool and spacious fields.
When looking for a school, where your daughter can go through a transformative process of education, do not look beyond PCEA Ogata Booth Girls High School of Excellence. Give us the girl and we will give you back a holistic lady of dignity and integrity.
PCEA Wangige Church cordially invites you all to a fundraising in aid of the construction of a new sanctuary. It will be a mega church from this to this glorious sanctuary with modern facilities. The fundraising ceremony will be held on 10th of April 2022 from 10 a.m. at PCEA Wangige Church. Send in your contribution via paybill number 400-222, 400-222, account number 1069725, hash followed by your name. Acts chapter 20 verse 35. In everything I did, I showed you that this kind of hard work we must help the weak. Remembering the word of the Lord Jesus said himself, it is more blessed to give than to receive. For more information, call 0751 51 6677.
All right, and welcome back to Kirk TV in the morning. And in case you're joining us right now, we are streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube at Kirk TV Kenya. There is so much that has been happening all through the week in regards to matters to do with politics. The BBI ruling being one of the biggest matter that has come this particular Friday. Of course, the ruling by the judiciary, that is the Supreme Court, just yesterday, talking about the process being so much of illegal. And I want us to take a look at what the Kenya Kwanza coalition, or rather what first of all what Deputy President William Ruto had to say about the BBI ruling, and then we also come back and continue with our discussion.
We cannot have a government that is experimenting on the people of Kenya every time, every year, every season.
Walikuwa wanaturingia ati nobody can stop reggae. Reggae imekwama haijakwama. Reggae imefika tamati haijafika. Imefika mwisho haijafika. And we want to tell our friends, the Handshake Brothers and the BBI fraud they visited on the people of Kenya. Now that it is confirmed by the Supreme Court that the BBI and all the shenanigans around it were matters that were unconstitutional, illegal, null and void. The Handshake Brothers need to make an apology to the people of Kenya. They have wasted 4 years of our time. They sabotaged the Big Four plan that was going to give jobs to our young people in favor of a fraudulent exercise meant to satisfy the selfish interests of a few people. Now that the court has made a determination that the BBI process was illegal, unconstitutional, null and void, now we want to tell them the least we expect from the promoters of the BBI nonsense is for them to own up and apologize to the people of Kenya that they wasted our 4 precious years.
And that is the statement by Deputy President William Ruto, and I just can see all the reaction from the three of you. It's a very proud reaction in regards to the BBI ruling. Did you expect that from the Deputy President, Biko?
Absolutely no.
What do you take of his
Absolutely
reaction?
no. You know, let me tell you one thing. The process of amendment of the Constitution is both a political and a legal process.
Mm-hmm.
right? It is political in the sense that we are dealing with a with a political document, or a document that affects Kenyans in their entirety. And for this BBI process, it is a process that was, it is a process that will, if you look at the steps that it takes before the bill becomes law, it is a political process. But then the vehicle that is used to carry that political process is a legal process. So it is very unfortunate that even before you played, and even after you played, or rather before you played Ruto's clip, there was that clip of Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. And it is really disheartening that that we would want to politicize this process, that is the amendment of the constitution, and that certain political leaders would then want to take credit either for the process to have gone through or for the process to have failed. We are supposed to look at it very, very, very objectively and ask ourselves, what were the issues that had been raised in the constitutional amendment bill of 2020, and like politicizing the whole thing, so that we don't look at what was the motive of the drafters of that, the motive of the drafters of that constitutional amendment bill. If we then move away from looking at this thing had been promoted by ODM, or it had been promoted by Kenya Kwanza Alliance or ANC, and look at what was the objective and what was the motive behind it, then we cannot have the sentiments that we are seeing. But then, even most importantly, a leader of the pedigree of the deputy president trying to trivialize and having such kind of sentiments, and or in a public rally, for me, it is the most unfortunate statement that we had as of yesterday. It is actually not the highlight of whatever it is that we had of yesterday.
Otondo, is that unfortunate?
It is not unfortunate. It is not. I want to take him with these words. He said Kenyatta is a Kenyan citizen, and he signed the BBI as a Kenyan citizen. So when you see Mheshimiwa Ruto speaking, he's speaking as a Kenyan?
As a Kenyan citizen.
And I told you, my opening statements were this: Kenyans are happy. He's a Kenyan, he's happy. Because one, the grandfather of this, whatever thing we are discussing here, BBI, the slots making, I call it the slots making initiative, whereby some people want to create jobs for them and protect whatever they want to protect in this nation.
No, but even slots and job creation wasn't part of the issues that were raised for determination at the Court of Appeal and even the Supreme Court.
Let him finish, and then you take on him.
What Kenyans know,
yes,
BBI was all about the Prime Minister position. That's what, when you're bringing an argument, don't argue on basis of what you have read in books or what you've seen on television. Argue on basis of what affects your area and your village. Yeah?
Was it part of the issues for determination in court?
It is not part of the determination in the court, but I'm trying to tell you,
yes,
I'm trying to put sense to you on my statements. Kenyans are happy. And I want to say, this process is very onerous. I want to be very open. This process is very onerous, and I want to respond on the fact that this process is very onerous and very expensive. In this manner, and I remember you asked me a question if somebody, a common Wanjiku in Viga County or in whatever county, if actually it was the one who was proposing this initiative, will it have gone through? I would say it openly. We are in Kenya. It will not have gone through. I want to take you back to a court. You be a good listener. You see, I want to take you back to Punguza Mzigo initiative. Okay. It was one of the best initiatives that I, as an informed Kenyan who wants the best for this country, would have voted for it. But it failed. Why? Because one, I also want to take him to his words. He said, all of these processes, they are political, but driven by a trend called law. Okay? So when you see these are gentlemen who are so wise, they are informed, but they are trying to have a double speak. Maybe from where they pluck the fruits, it is more beneficial to them. He might be an intent deputy prime minister. We never know. That's why he's so much.
But I'm trying to wonder why the deputy president would criticize the failure of the BBI, while in utmost, if the BBI would sail through and he also happens to win,
he would have been the biggest beneficiary.
It would also benefit from the BBI.
Something. That's a very good question. The deputy president is actually a very generous Kenyan.
Okay.
He's a very generous Kenyan. I think he has never looted for you anything. Huh? If you have told them what Ruto has never looted from you,
just proceed with the point.
No, I just have to correct it because
Yes, because I know if you take on that route.
Yeah, we are not.
Ruto is the most generous presidential aspirant I've ever seen in this our country. One, if you look at his team, he has empowered most of his teammates. Those people who call him a thief, I want to say this, it's a plus for him. Don't call him a thief. Because you see, most Kikuyus are always called thieves. And when you call somebody a thief, Kikuyus will take him as huyo ni mmoja wetu. So, I want to tell you the let us discuss within the target of BBI and the statements that were made by Ruto. Those statements, to me, they are very much okay. They are very much actually from a Kenyan. A Kenyan who is happy because the salary we will have been paying the Prime Minister now, we are happy. It will now improve the lives of my political strategists here.
Maybe you can hire.
First of all, I think there is a statement he has made which we should not allow it. You cannot profile a community that when you say this person is a thief, then a community will be up in arms and say this is one of us. I think that is quite reckless. The Gikuyu community. Wait. But to say that there is a certain community that will be proud to be associated with the things of maybe stealing, that is not fair to the community. I think you need to make an apology to the Kikuyu community.
You'll actually do that.
Let me proceed. You will have your time to make that apology.
Apology for that statement. I withdrew those people with the utmost openness.
That is good. So maybe I can proceed.
You can now proceed.
So I think I will now proceed because what I know of let me make my statement.
Or rather, you should also withdraw your statement in regards to
fine. I think when we say that Ruto has looted, I think in 2007, Ruto has been in court. He's accused of grabbing land. That is in public knowledge. Everybody here knows that there's a gentleman in Uasin Gishu who took Ruto to court. Ruto was in court in person. Wait, and the judges made a ruling that Ruto was guilty, and Ruto returned the land. Fact. So that is something we can't say. But then that is just a by the way. Let us go back to the main issue. The main issue is when the deputy president stands before in a rally to celebrate that BBI has finally failed. I think for me, this team in Kenya Kwanza as a whole, they are very short-sighted people. They are very short-sighted. Because if you are a deputy president who means well for the country, you ought to stand with what means well for the country, even if your own interests are not being catered for. The only reason, and I can tell you for a fact, the only reason as to why the deputy president opposed BBI, because he kind of sensed that this could be a train to take Raila Odinga to the presidency. That is the only reason he's opposing. If BBI will have sneaked in a statement like Ruto will be the president, then he will be number one promoter of BBI. So the only reason he's opposing that is because maybe he thinks in one way or the other, his chances of ascending to the presidency are going slim each day, which is a fact, of course, and I don't think maybe there's a
actually you talked about him not supporting that particular bill, but apart from Deputy President William Ruto, there are two gentlemen, that is Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the party leader of ANC, and Moses Wetangula of Ford Kenya. We all saw them at the Bomas of Kenya signing into that particular bill and saying that we need to have an honest discussion, a very tight discussion that have a good structure so that we can take this country forward. But this is what they had to say just after the ruling by the Supreme Court. I just want us to take a look at what the Kenya Kwanza team led by Musalia Mudavadi said.
We cannot have a government that is experimenting on the people of Kenya every time, every year, every season. Ni lazima sasa tuambie we cannot accept it. Na tunasema BBI is a lesson because tumeona mtindo vile wametumia pesa za umma kwa mambo ya BBI. Hawa pia wameanza kutumia pesa za umma kwa huu mradi ambao unaitwa Azimio.
Na Rais Uhuru, you must now know that every misadventure has consequences. And today you have seen the consequences of your misadventure. You are misadvised. You now have a rotten egg on your face. Mambo ya BBI. Sisi kama wana Kenya Kwanza tunataka kuwaomba wa Kenya musimame na sisi kurekebisha yale makosa yote Uhuru na Raila wameletea wa Kenya kupitia ile misadventure na mischief yao inaitwa handshake.
You use 20 billion to push down the throat of the citizens of Kenya. On Tuesday, I'm going to move a motion in Parliament asking the Auditor General, who is a custodian of public resources, an independent office, together with the EACC, together with the Controller of Budget, who is supposed to authorize every expenditure, and the DPP, that those who allowed the expenditure of 20 billion on BBI to be held accountable.
And that is Aden Duale saying he'll move a motion for the accountability of what was used in promoting the BBI. But I don't want us to focus on Aden Duale because if we move that motion is a matter of wait and see. But I want us to focus on Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula. These two honorable members were part of the BBI process while it started, but right about now they are against that process, and you've heard those sentiments by the two leaders.
Political convenience.
How do we take those two leaders from the position of being supporters of the BBI and now being the strongest critics? Is that political
convenience? When it favors you the most, you say kudos to it. When you shift base, you now start castigating it, and that is why I was telling you this whole thing is political. Yeah, this whole thing is political, and it depends with which camp you are in. If today there was a handshake between, the Right Honorable Prime Minister and these are the leader of Kenya Kwanza Alliance, His Excellency the Vice President. The Vice President will not even be talking as he is talking here. Mm-hmm. On national television. He wouldn't even be doing that. So it is all about political convenience, and that is why it is high time we say, looking at the amendment of the Constitution of Kenya that amendment bill of 2020 more objectively and not from the prism of the political leadership. That is one. Two, mm-hmm. on the issue of the expenditure that was that was expended on the amendment bill 2020, I would be very interested in knowing why these people would want to bring a debate on the floor of the House to debate a process that where no public monies were used. Is there evidence that public monies were used? There is no such kind of evidence that public monies were used to push this idea that is the BBI.
I told you Kiongozi actually is jiggling with a lot of words without facts. Let me remind him something. I think you're a Christian.
No, it matters not. It matters not. It matters not. It matters not in this.
It matters because one, if you don't have a religion, I'll actually take it. I'll take it as a courtesy, because I believe either you're a Muslim or a Christian, there are times that everyone gets saved, and a sinner can actually have a second chance of becoming righteous. You see, during the signing of BBI Act. And when Musalia was number 3, I was happy you actually noted that, and that one you have facts.
Yes.
It was number 3. And
in the signing of that bill.
Number 6.
Yes.
Which we agree, we don't disagree with that. But that time they were silly. But when they actually they saw salvation, they became Christians and they joined the better part of the Kenyans, whereby you see
that is
but
a very
on
that
the
is a very
salvation,
interesting
on the
analogy.
salvation,
Yes.
those are leaders that are supposed to lead this nation. How do
BBI
you
is
bet
sinning.
their integrity?
BBI is sinning. I told you the grandfather of all this is handshake. That's a fact.
Doesn't that raise
You
the
see, I want to
question of
remind you,
integrity?
I want to remind you something. Just a little bit. I want to remind you something. Politics is a matter of interest. When you are going somewhere as an aspirant, they want to strike a deal between political parties. That's why we even have coalitions. And we have seen even the zoning thing that is becoming a propaganda thing. When Musalia Mudavadi was on their side, I want to be made assured that after handshake, you have seen a lot of developments in Kisumu County. It's very factual. A lot of developments. In Viga, where I come from, the only time that I've seen the president come there is during the burial of the mother too. Musalia Mudavadi, is that a development? So when it's a matter of interest. When Musalia Mudavadi is not seeing the interest from the president, why will he work with him? The little time that I've seen Musalia Mudavadi working with Ruto, I've seen a lot of women groups benefiting with the chicken rearing. So you should not tell us when the political interest favors you most is when you see it fit. I will not agree with that. If BBI was actually favoring, I will take an example of the people of Viga, where I come from, who have been supporting it fully. Give us a prime minister and see if you will not support it fully. In fact, we tell the court we are doing something.
And in fact, even today, you'll be seeing that BBI is okay, that BBI is good.
Okay.
That is what I'm saying. It's not political.
When we see this thing is going to favor two families in this country, we are not going to allow it, and we are not going to ensure that.
I think
we have advanced him.
Finally, I have been vindicated.
Yes, exactly.
I've been vindicated. When we started, he was a bit scared that maybe the route BBI is taking was illegal. But now, towards in between the debate, he sneaks statements that our interests were not there. That's why we pulled out. Yeah, not that the process was. Let me. No, Chris, I think you can protect me from him so that I can just finish my point. Let me continue. No, you had made your point. You had made your point, and we had. So I think when it comes to the issue of the two leaders, Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, if you ask me, I will maybe forgive William Ruto because he was a bit skeptical of BBI from the onset. But these two gentlemen were part of the process. They were even there. They were part of the people who were going to the ground to mobilize people to agree with BBI. Musalia was even in Vihiga campaigning for BBI, everybody, everywhere. So, Chris, what I want to make is, for the two leaders, I think it's just lack of ideologies and principles. Yeah, their integrity is, that's what makes it questionable. And that tells you as to why, even in their backyards, after they had crossed camp, a lot of legislators ditched them. They said these people lack ideologies. Chris, please protect me so that I can make my point. You will have time.
If you go,
he will have time to respond.
It matters to do with numbers. I don't think anybody has done a research or rather conducted a research.
But there is personally, I'm a member of ANC. And they cannot actually say
okay,
we have lost
Chris,
numbers.
Can I continue? Can I continue? We
team.
have the MP for Lugari, Ayub Savula, was from ANC. MP for Teso North, Okukawunya was ANC. Nabulindo, where we were in a by-election, ANC won. They even wanted to kill us because of that by-election. He ditched Aseka from Quisero. All these MPs have ditched Musalia Mudavadi. So if you are asking, and they are now in Azimio. But now that is not the point. The point is, people are now beginning to see that Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula are leaders without any ideology. They will just be swayed in any camp as long as their personal interests are accommodated. And the bitterness we see in Kenya Kwanza makes me believe, indeed, especially led by the deputy president, there was a motive indeed to impeach the president.
And I know that is a story that has brought a lot of contention in this.
And if you can watch the way these people are speaking then there must have been a plot to impeach the president.
Because this discussion cannot end, because politics is a game of interest, and if you try to analyze each politician with their interest, then it will become an uphill task.
Absolutely.
But my director tells me we have less than 3 minutes to wind up this particular program. But I know everybody has been able to give their input in regards to the Moses Wetangula and ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi. But the bigger picture here is a court, is a Kenyan, the biggest court in the country, that is the Supreme Court, facing one of its biggest tasks in regards to the Constitution. And again, for Chief Justice Martha Koome coming out as the first significant task since she was sworn in as the CJ. And I just want to get an opinion from all of you, even as we wind this particular program. And just to begin with, Biko, of the 7-judge rule by the Supreme Court and the conduct of the Chief Justice in this big test, what do you take of the task bestowed on the judges and also the Supreme Court?
3 issues. One, I want to commend the judges of the Supreme Court for each one of them having come up with a judgment of their own. There was no unanimous decision as we have experienced before in that particular court. Two, if you listened to all the judges read a summary of their judgment, they went all out to ensure that they canvassed all the issues that had been brought to their determination by the various litigants and even the advocates who urged them at the Supreme Court. That is the second thing. 3 is the courage that they had to undertake that process and even come up with the very bold decisions like they did. The Kenyan court system is an adversarial system. At the end of the day, we are going to have a loser and we are going to have a winner. And the same thing played itself yesterday. We had losers and we had winners. And at the end of the day as well, we are going to have people who will celebrate the decision of the court. There are others who are going to be saying that that the judgment never went their way. My only contention or my only concern is the people who have lost at the Supreme Court, as it were, have lost honorably. The people who perceive themselves to have won are celebrating dishonorably. That is where I have a problem. That the celebration is being done in a very dishonorable way by members who are supposed to be to be honorable members of this society. So I think moving forward, it will be important that since we are in the electioneering period, that even our leadership give us a purposeful guidance, even in the current issues that we are dealing with as a country.
Okay, yes. Just coming to you, Otondo, what is your take in regards to that ruling and the conduct of the Supreme Court over the BBI?
I'll not say much. I'll just say Kenyans are happy. As a Kenyan, I'm very happy. As they go to give us a verdict on Tuesday, please, we are waiting for an null and void affirmations by them. We are happy.
Are you preempting judgment by the...
No, but the judgment has already been given. The judgment, what they'll be giving us, on Tuesday. No, you are misleading. You are misleading.
It's so bitter.
I'm bitter because you are misleading Kenyans. Judgments were already read. No, a judgment was made. Judgments were made yesterday. What is coming? What we are expecting on Tuesday is a consolidation of all the judgments. Okay. But then the final verdict will be as was delivered yesterday.
Okay,
so there'll be nothing new.
I don't think there's so much to talk about whether they put out the judgment or not, or rather the ruling.
Let me start my statement.
It's just your parting shot in regards to how they conducted themselves and in regards to the ruling.
As I was saying, and I should not be cut short, and you protect me.
You are protected. Proceed.
In fact, let me be seen my bald head. Kenyans are very happy. The court, we appreciate you. We applaud you. If some of us had a chance to buy you lunch, we'll have bought you lunch. In fact, congratulations. we are saved.
All right, that is your parting shot. So just in less than 30 seconds, you're going to, and I don't want you to respond to what Safan has been able to say. I just want you to give your parting shot.
I will say this, Chris. I think yesterday's ruling was a kind of landmark again, especially now that it was one of the crucial roles Martha Koome, Lady Chief Justice, has made during his time as a CJ. But then most importantly, it also vindicates the president from the accusations from the political players that has been made to him that he has captured the judiciary. Yeah? Because when you see such kind of rulings even made against his wishes, because obviously we all know that it will have been the wish of the president that the judges rule in favor of BBI in entirety, in totality. But then we find that they somehow tell us this is the end of the road for this process as of now. But even after the ruling, the judges are safely driven home by the government vehicles. Security is still assigned. So these accusations, we've been told that institutions, government institutions have been weaponized. They're under state capture. Then it now shows that this is just cheap politics that are being made by people who are power hungry.
Okay.
They just want to
and that is your parting shot as well. And I just want us to take a very short break. But before that, and this week's episode on the Kenyan perspective, we try to focus on what Kenyans had to say in regards to the statements that have come up early this week in regards to the impeachment plans of President Uhuru Kenyatta, raising a lot of claims. I didn't know about it, or the party leader saying that, and Deputy President William Ruto coming out loudly to say that he did not in any way plan the impeachment of President Uhuru Kenyatta. But that is a discussion that has raised eyebrows. But I just want us to take a look at what Kenyans had to say in regards to that.
It was one of the memorable political unions witnessed in the country since independence, with these two political bulls, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, coming together to bury down their political differences in 2013.
Nikotini inaamua rais ama ni nini? Wakenya ni wale wale, wembe ni ule ule, sisi hatuna shida.
Over the years, they say that one day in politics is similar to 365 days. From Tanga Tanga versus Kieleweke to handshake versus Kenya Kwanza, what has followed now is, after a long time of speculations that there were plans to impeach the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, by his second-in-command, Dr. William Ruto, now it has become a topic of the day, with political pundits calling it just a mere propaganda and a suicide bomb that would go off any time on the faces of Kenyans as we head to the general elections this year.
Bring that kind of emotion. So I want to agree with many Kenyans who think that conversation has no place at this time.
Kenyans echoing some of the sentiments made by some of the leaders that this is just a mere political game, but which could have a catastrophic results to the mwananchi.
Hiyo tunaweza sema ni siasa. Sababu ya nini? Hiyo kitu angesema wakiwa wameanza kazi. Na kuimpeach president mtu hawezi anza kama term imeisha.
Yani huyo ni kama kuchukua Wakenya kama hawafikiri ya kwamba kuna mahali tunaenda, kwa sababu hii nchi tumeiunda kwa msingi wa democracy.
Sasa ni vile wanasiasa waangalie sana venye wanaongea. Mambo ya impeachment wangeongea wakati ule, hapo tungejua ni kweli kulikuwa na hiyo mambo ya impeachment. Lakini kwa wakati huu tunajua tu ni mambo ya siasa. Kwa maana si mambo yako na msingi, si mambo tulijua, wanasema saa hii. Kwa wakati huu ndio wanasema hayo maneno. Kwa hivyo si maneno tunasaongelea kusema kuna impeachment ilikuwa, kwa maana ni mtu aliona ni kama alisidwa, sasa anaona yeye aongelee mambo ya kuaibisha yule mwingine. Kwa hivyo wanaweza fanya hii nchi kuwe na mapigano na hiyo ni kitu baya sana kuongea kwa ile kitu haina msingi.
Enyewe matamshi kama hayo ni matamshi yanaweza letea Kenya shida kubwa sana. Sasa ukikuja kutuchezea akili kama sisi wa Kenya, tunakuambia ushindwe katika jina la Yesu.
But with all this going on, politicians have decided to play a cat and mouse games with everyone pointing fingers to their opponents.
Never, I have never, and I will never, and it has never happened that I could be part of anything that would bring down the government of Kenya, and those who are spreading those lies, shame on you.
I'm not aware about those claims. Okay? So I have nothing to say. What do I want to say?
From the views by Kenyans, you've heard it that they say they had fears that such claims made on impeachment of President Uhuru Kenyatta that could lead this country into chaos, considering the fact that we are heading to the 2022 August polls this year. Reporting for Kirk TV, I'm Dennis Munene.
And that is Dennis Monene of the usual Kenyan perspective right here on Kirk in the morning every Friday. Make sure you catch up with this episode on the Kenyan perspective. Tries to go each and every place to look what Kenyans are saying in regards to different matters this week, tackling the matter to do with the impeachment claims of President Uhuru Kenyatta. And that is where we wind up this particular session and our discussion in regards to matters to do with politics, the state of the Kenyan politics, the BBI ruling, of course, being a bigger determinant of the August polls. And on my near left has been Biko Ashoya, who is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and just next to him is Itzak Otondo, who is a member of County Assembly aspirant of Tambua, that is in Vihiga County, and also Oleso Odhiambo, who is a political strategist and also a member of the ODM party. I think I got that correct. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time this morning, and I hope we can have this other discussion. Of course, there's a broad matter that is expected to raise different discussions going forward, but that is where we wind it up, because I know we can talk up until the next day, but we put it at that point, and hoping to see you next week but one, or rather in our next episode of our political discussion. And that is where we end up our political discussion. And before we take a short break, this week we will focus on our health insight. I will leave you with our health insight segment, where we will focus on the home-based care, which is a concept that was heard more in Kenya during the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. However, this care has been available for years, and it's something that health practitioners advise. So what exactly is home-based care? Home care is health care or supportive care provided by a professional caregiver in the individual home where the patient or client is living, as opposed to care provided in group accommodations like clinics or nursing at home. Let's listen in from a professional in that area, that is nurse Grace Njiro.
A home-based care is the care that we give to patients or clients at the comfort of their home. You find that most people will go to the hospital when they are ill, but many a times you don't need to be in hospital throughout until recovery, so that care can be continued to the client's home, and this is what we call home-based care. It's also known as home health care, and people may use those names interchangeably. So home health care can be done in the client's home with the help of skilled persons or trained caregivers who will help the person recuperate or restore their health back. Home-based care has been in practice for the longest time, but probably what people don't know is the professional aspect of home-based care, because when one is ill and they are discharged from hospital, before they regain their health to their optimum, they may need support. For example, assistance with bathing, assistance with feeding until they get their health back. However, that is not professional. It can be taken up by relatives or any other person who's available at home. But when you look at home-based care in Kenya, during about 20 years back, when HIV and AIDS was a big burden on the healthcare system, communities were taught how to take care of the sick people at home. Those who are probably in HIV stage 4, because they needed assistance with their care. So we found that communities were now taught to take care of these persons who are living with HIV and AIDS. However, you find that there are other conditions whereby the person may require assistance, not just the HIV. Now, coming through into 2020, we had a lot of emphasis because of COVID, where home-based care again became a talk of town, and most people preferred to be nursed at home if they were not having severe respiratory conditions.
Untitled Trust Girls Secondary School is a Catholic day and boarding school run by Our Lady of Charity of Untitled Trust.
Untitled Girls Secondary School is one of the best schools to be in.
Our school has all kinds of girls. We are able to have girls from all parts of this country, and when they are with us, you wouldn't realize that they belong to which part of tribe or denomination. Our school is able to cater for all the students that come to us.
We have partial sponsorship and those retaking KCSE exams. Intake for junior secondary school starts next year. We are situated at Donholm Phase 8, right turn off Jacaranda Roundabout, 500 meters from Greenspan Mall. For more information, contact us on 0728 403 149 or 0719 836 923 or email us on idovelgirlssc@gmail.com. Idovel Trust Girls Secondary School, quest for excellence.
Basi Paulo aliwaandikia Wagalatia waraka mmoja, na katika waraka huo ukisoma mlango wa kwanza hapo mstari wa 6 utamsikia Paulo akiwashauri Wagalatia kwa kuambia kwamba amestaajabika katika hali fulani, ukaielewa, ukaipata, lakini muda baadaye kukatokea jambo kinyume, ukaachana na lile la kweli ulilofunzwa. Wewe umepitishwa katika hali fulani, lakini ikawa matokeo ni kinyume. Ikawa umepitishwa katika mambo hayo, mienendo yako baadaye, tabia zako baadaye haziambatani na yale mafunzo uliopewa. Na hiyo ndio hasira ya Paulo. Nyinyi Wagalatia, nilichukua muda na nyinyi nikiwafunza, nikiwaelekeza. Ushauri tumeupata kupitia maandiko. Tumesoma Biblia na tunajua ni lipi lapaswa kufanywa, ni lipi lisilopaswa kufanywa. Kutohudhuria ibada, na ibada tunazohudhuria zikiwa za nyumbani, zikiwa za kanisani, zote huwa ni za kutuelekeza katika mambo ya Ukristo. Mbona tuwajipata kwamba tumekuwa kama Wagalatia ambao kidogo wanaenda kinyume.
Jiunge na moderator wa kanisa la PCA Mchungaji Thegu Mutahi kwa mahubiri, mafunzo na ufafanuzi wa masuala ibuka nchini. kila Jumapili ya kwanza ya kila mwezi saa 1:30 jioni.
Experience Christian television like never before.
What are we called to do to transform the world, to make it more Christ-like, and ultimately to Christianize?
We are Christian professionals placed by God in our different spheres.
Kirk TV brings you news.
Ulimwengu unabadilika kwa kasi na kila dakika ya siku kuna jambo unalopaswa kujua.
Economic.
Ni mmoja tu wa wanabiashara ambao tumezungumza nao mtazamaji.
Health.
The egg from Kenyan chicken is very good and people know that.
Be rest assured that health is wealth.
Faith, as well as national issues programs to nourish your heart, mind and soul.
We can bring the change that we desire in our country.
We look into political and governance matters and current affairs matters with a third eye.
We are called to multiply disciples. So there has to be disciple makers, and there has to be people that are willing to be those disciples.
Kirk TV brings it all to you.
God bless you.
PCA Ongata Booth Girls High School of Excellence is an outstanding girls boarding high school ideal for learning. Located in a quiet and serene
tangu mfuate Yesu ndani ya wokovu, na hisi ninazo nguvu kama ndovu, nafanya nitakacho bila uchovu, nifanyacho bila yecha wa kibovu, kama kufua bila povu, nitabeba neno lake kwenye roho, kwa mugongo, nitangaze toka Kenya hadi Bongo, hadi Kongo, nitabeba neno lake kwenye roho, kwa mugongo, nitangaze toka Kenya hadi Bongo, hadi Kongo. Juu ninayetambua ni wewe, ni wewe, ni wewe, Mwokozi ninayetambua ni wewe, ni wewe, ni wewe. Kweli si michezo ya kuigiza, analeta nuru palipo na giza, njoo ujione, wacha kuuliza, wacha kuuliza, nena baraka zake na rotate, tangu nilipomlocate, ibilisi Mungu Mola ndoneti, mimi siwezi kumforget, nena baraka zake na rotate, tangu nilipomlocate, ibilisi Mungu Mola ndoneti, mimi siwezi kumforget. Juu ninayetambua ni wewe, ni wewe, ni wewe, Mwokozi ninayetambua ni wewe, ni wewe, ni wewe, wangu naye.
Bensi.
Yo.
Bensi yuko studio leo.
Mazi.
Good morning and karibu sana studio zetu.
Thank you.
And hiyo ngoma kwanza imetoka beat yake. Tell us about that song Ni Wewe.
Ni Wewe. Ni Wewe is actually a very old song. A song to acknowledge tu yani venye God amenifanyia tu yani. Kwa wale wase wote unatambua, unajua kuna mtu wewe unatambuanga, unajuanga huyu mse, this person comes through every time. So For me it's God. So ni kumsifu tu, it's a praise song, simple praise song, kumsifu tu amenifanyia kwa life yangu. Yeah.
And I was nataka tu kujua like of course nimeona ngoma zako kadhaa na Miracle Wewe, there's the new one pia umetoa tu juzi.
Yeah.
And it's doing actually well, but tutaifanya baadaye. And I want to know how's the journey been for you, you know, in the ministry and how you've been able to transition to music that pia watu wana vibe nayo at this age, because unaweza agree na mimi that as an artist lazima transition na vile age naenda. Ngoma zilikuwa 2012, 2013. Hiyo molimba maybe that time cannot be the same unaimba pia. How has it been the transition for you?
I think it's been positive from my side, because unajua una growing with every time una try craft yako. So for me try sana ku change na times, although through ku change na retain Bensi, the personality ya Bensi, the brand ya Bensi, isi change sana, but una change na times, because music is inakujanga na waves. Kuna wave leo itakuja maybe ni ya dancehall, kesho itakuja wave ya reggaeton, kesho kutu itakuja gengeton. So as you transition through hizo vitu zote, unabaki na bado Bensi anafaa kubaki the same. So transition yangu ijakuwa quick sana. Mimi si transition sana. Niende this other side. Pole tu, because pia lazima uchange na times. Wase kuna time wase wana prefer tu kusikiza specific type of music. So lazima ujifunze kutransform through hizo times zote. So nime maintain tu hivyo mdogo mdogo.
Ukiingia kwa ngoma kama tuseme evolving with the current age ya pia watu pia venye wana transition pia wao na alafu ngoma kama dancehall ziko na hizo temptations za pia unaweza jipata ume cross hiyo side nyingine, lakini hiyo pressure of course imemount to very many gospel artists na wamesuccumb to that pressure, waka leave the ministry, but kwako tuseme hiyo pressure ya unaimba this type of music na ina kupush to some limit, how do you overcome your pressure? Unapata bado as much as unafanya hizi ngoma tuseme kama dancehall and such, bado una remain relevant pia kwa ile message unataka ifikie watu.
For me, I believe music is an expression of who you are. It's ni extension tu ya zile vitu una feel, because ukiingia studio every good song imefanywa from a point of emotion. Ukifeel leo mazee mimi nataka kuimba about this topic because maybe imeku-impact in one way or another. So I think for me imekuwa hard sana mimi ku slip back, because ile kitu mimi na feeding spirit yangu ni different maybe na ile kitu wase wanaimba kwa world. Mimi siwezi imba kuhusu pombe, I don't drink. Siwezi imba kuhusu bangi, I don't smoke. So naimba kitu yenye mimi najua. Ni expression ya tu who I am. Kama mimi nimekaa sana church, nitaimba church because that's what I know. So what you feed yourself is ndio kitu inatoka tu. So ukiona msee amechange, sidhaningi inakuanga much of change from gospel to secular.
Personality.
Ni yeye tu. Imekuwa tu deep inside them. Hiyo ndio kitu amekuwa akijifeed. So inafika point una break. Because ile kitu iko ndani una try ku portray kitu yenye haiko. Ukiangalia most of the artists wenye wameshift from gospel to secular, muziki yao ya gospel haikuwa much of gospel. Ilikuwa tu it's a secular song, unanyunyizia ka Yesu hapo.
Unakuwa ngojeo hadi ya kunyunyizia.
So unapata tu ni expression ya kitu amekuwa kifeel, kitu amekuwa kigo through, ametamani sana kuimba kuhusu maybe madem. Hii gospel ina mhold. So unaweza danganya watu. Unaweza danganya watu for a while, but huwezi jidanganya. At long last itatoka tu. Na ndio inatokanga, tunaona vile watu wako wa ukweli.
Na unajua pia on that note ina depend pia na music pia una come up nayo. Like kama ngoma zako ziko na title moja ni Wewe, Miracle, Taraja, like unaona that sort of naming of your songs, meaning that probably ni song unakaa unaandika. So nataka tu kujua like how do you sit down na unaamua ku come up na song fulani, because kila song nimesikia iko na vibe yake na kila song probably ina target watu wake pia kiplan. So how do you come up with your music depending na maybe time na pia hiyo kind of music yenye unataka?
Kama kuna kitu mimi ushukuru God sana nayo ni gift ya kuandika muziki. Na believe hiyo ndio kitu God alinipea. Kila msee huko amepewa kitu yake, but for me it's composition of music is where I'm most comfortable. Mimi naweza andika 10 20 songs in a day na zote zitakuwa tu poa. So I think mimi ukuwa tu kwa hiyo zone ya anytime I can create music. Nikipata inspiration from anywhere, I can naeza ingia studio immediately and record. Afu God ameni bless na studio. So nikiwa studio, it's easier for me to be creative. Naeza ingia tu kwa booth nianze ku mumble vitu, and before I know it, it's a song. Most of the songs that I nime record, nikianza when I start nikianza the first word in the song, huwa sijui naimba nini, but by the time namaliza song ndio naisikiza and I'm like wow, kitu ni kali.
Vibe na moment.
Na vibe tu na moment, na ndio maana nasema nashukuru God. Siwezi sema ni kitu yangu. Kuna times nakaanga chini nasema aya sasa nataka ku compose song kali, but it doesn't work out. But ile time tu naingia spirit na ni lead, najipata tu nimecompose muziki poa. So sidhani ni much of mimi, I think ni God anaiweka tu kwa akili yangu na mimi naitoa tu kwa mdomo. So siwezi take much of the credit.
Tuseme pia hiyo ni kama miracle.
Maze ni miracle.
Asiku hiyo ngoma, hiyo ngoma ya miracle. Wewe umekupata vizuri.
Kama tenda hili tuiza hapo before. Bona kwa kanisa sasa haipo, najipata na ushuku wake wepo. Bona hatendi tena miracle. Kama kweli haviwetu waliponana. Waliponana. Tena wavipofu wakaonana. Wakaonana. Bona hii miujiza sijaona in. Mi sijaona in. Imani inashuka ninahitaji. Mimi ninahitaji. Nina handle na doubts kama Omasi. Kama Omasi. Kwa imani najivuta kama Omasi. Mola nikumbushe kwamba ninaishi bado, hiyo ni miracle. Hiyo ni miracle. Nina marafiki bado, hiyo ni miracle. Hiyo ni miracle. Kwamba ninaishi bado, hiyo ni miracle. Hiyo ni miracle. Nina marafiki bado, hiyo ni miracle. Hiyo ni miracle. Hivi la paso nione anatenda. Amenilinda mimi nawe kila siku ya kalenda. Kiburi changanya kama blender. Changanya kama blender. Hivi la paso nione anatenda. Amenilinda mimi nawe kila siku ya kalenda. Kiburi changanya kama blender. Changanya kama nina handle na doubts kama Tomasi. Kama Tomasi. Kwa imani najivuta kama Tomasi. Mola nikumbushe kwamba ninaishi bado, hiyo ni miracle. Hiyo ni miracle. Nina marafiki bado, hiyo ni miracle. Hiyo ni miracle. Kwamba ninaishi bado, hiyo ni miracle. Hiyo ni miracle. Nina marafiki bado, hiyo ni miracle. Hiyo ni miracle. Kwa kile umenipa.
Miracle.
Miracle.
Hiyo ngoma moja, a very good song.
Thank
And
you.
pia umesema like you are so good in writing, and it's inevitable by the way. Because unasikiza ngoma, unasikia beat, but Kenya inasema huko una expect itoke, but unapata inatoka in the most appropriate way.
Thank you.
There's a question pia nilikuwa nataka kukuuliza. Like kuna so much time inafikaga unapata as an artist umefika ile point ni kama tuseme boiling point. Umeandika ngoma na right at that point ngoma zote umeandika umetoa, tuseme umetoa, but you find yourself in a dilemma that what next and where do I move? Hizi ngoma zote nimeandika, so my next project itakuwa nini? Umeshajipata hiyo situation na kama umejipata, how has it been for you?
I think for me, it's every time I release a song. Every time I release song, me ushindwa what next. Because the one thing I battle with the most, I think, ni the fact that I want every song I release to be better than the previous one. So inakufanya every time unataka ku raise standards zako wewe mwenyewe. And there is no harder person to compete with than yourself. So unajipata kwa hiyo situation ya okay, nime-release song, wasema maybe wame like, what do I do next? So ikifika hiyo point ndio unaanza kujiuliza maswali sana. Because ukifikanga mwisho, ukifika ile limit yenye una feel I have done it all, hapo ndio unapata msee maybe amequit muziki, ama msee amekaa for 3, 4, 5 months haja release muziki. Because umefika ile point yenye ume-exhaust everything kwa akili yako. But mimi naomba sana God ani sustain so that for every season I have a new song. Ndio kuna msee unajua ako home hata waienda church. So church yake ni muziki yako. So the minute you stop releasing music, kuna msee mahali anabaki na njaa ya muziki, anabaki na njaa ya word. So inakuanga naichukulianga ka responsibility yangu as an artist to keep creating music so that haitafika point yenye msee anangoja muziki yangu na haipati. So I think for every season naombanga to God, give me a song for every season. Give me a song for every season so that every time na release muziki there is another one coming. Alafu as an artist haufai kurekod muziki yenye unatoa tu. Sometimes you get in studio, you record songs, multiple of songs. Like for Sai, I have songs sijui nita release gani next because already I have project done, but sasa nashindwa what next, natoa gani next. So I guess hiyo ndo fani ya muziki. Every time you release something
with what next can I do better.
Yes.
And na pia kuna ile aspect na notion ya tuseme mtu anaandika mangoma mengi bado kwa hiyo process tunasema nataka tu ngoma kamoja tu kangoma kamoja. Siku na pia artist amoimba akasema nataka tu moja kamoja tu pamoja tu kanichomoe. Sasa like kwako wewe unaweza sema ngoma gani yenye uliimba ika shape up your entire ministry, na pia ika shape up your entire career kama musician, ika sitasema like kukuchomoa because maybe inaweza kuchomoa na pia isikuwe na impact yote, but ngoma moja kufanya uka feel the weight ika ku bring up ku discover like ndio Bensi.
I think kuna kwanga na levels na growth yangu. Kuna kwanga na song for every level. Kuna song niliimba ndio wase waka notice, kuna msanii anaitwa Bensi, sasa hebu tumsikia kona nini. Then kuna ile song yenye unaimba then ina blow kabisa, and then inaanza kufanya sasa uwe na pressure mingi. What do I release next? So kuna song inaitwa Mziki True. Hiyo ndio I think ilikuwa a bit controversial, I think ndio maana ili catch attention ya wase. Back in 2015 I think. 2015 ndio nilirelease hiyo song, ndio wase wakapata hiyo attention ya kuna msanii anaitwa Bensi, tuone ana nini. And then in 2019 nikafanya song nyingine inaitwa Church Girl. Church Girl I think ndio ilikuwa the highest point ya my music releases
Church Girl.
Yeah. Because at least ilinifikisha standard yenye sikuwa nafikiria muziki inaweza nifikisha. Hapo ndio nili understand that one song kamoja kanaweza change everything. So hiyo ndio ilifanya nikakuwa serious more na muziki, and nikakuwa more careful with my releases, with my plan. Hata nikitoa song strategy ya ku-release ika change vitu kaa hizo. So I think kila song inakuanga na nini level yake, but for me Church Girl was the biggest thing nishaidu. So hiyo ndio shape most of my zile releases nimefanya after.
And talking about pia transition yako na pia tuseme growth yako bit by bit from one music to the other hadi kafika point sahihi yenye like unaweza toa music na kitu inakusumbua sasa ni what next project naenda kufanya. Kuna maybe mtu anakuwatch sahihi anashanga nianzie wapi, ni muziki yangu nianzishie wapi. Wewe kama mtu pia umeanzia bottom kuja hapa na sile ya politics ukipanda tu polepole unaweza advise aje pia wale wasanii wenye maybe pia wengine wanakuangalia na sema nataka kufuata path kama yako. I think kamera yako ndio ili utatumia hiyo kamera kuambia watu like advice on those that want to become who you are or rather want to follow the path of being a musician.
Kitumiwaambia most artists start. You have to start. Because wase wengi wanasemanga ile siku nitapata do ndio nitaingia studio nifanye video kali na ni release. It's never going to happen. Hautawahi fika point ati sasa nina do enough to do this project. So whatever it is that you have, chukua hiyo. Moses alifikanga kwa burning bush na God akamuuliza uko na nini, what do you have in your hands? God lazima akuwa amekupea kitu. There is always something you are holding. Na yeye alikuwa ameshikilia staff na akamwambia use that. So whatever it is that uko nayo, tumia hiyo, use it. Sasa hii tuko kwa wale social media, so unaweza chukua hata kabit online, urecord ka freestyle, ukarusha YouTube, fungua channel yako, tuanze kukufuata huko hivyo. Au need kungoja mpaka upate ile do enough ya kwenda kurecord muziki, ufanye video, urelease, ufike ka TV ndio uhit. There are so many other ways. So make sure umeanza, just begin from wherever you are. But if you're an artist and you want to record music, I also have a studio. So acha nijipigie debe. You can just DM me on my social media platforms at Bensi again on Instagram, at Bensi again, Twitter, Facebook, Bensi. Just highlight me. Uniambie mazemi ni msanii na nataka kufanya muziki. Nataka ni come uniguide. Kuna wasanii wengi sana na guide. I think next time nikikama hapa ndaleta wasanii wengi.
Nafuu kuja na wao actually next time. Tuletea wasanii.
So unani approach tu na come studio tunafanya kazi. We see the way forward.
Alright, I think hiyo ni offer Bensi ametoa hapa live akisema umricha atakusaidia na kurecord. Anaweza kupea pia ka offer.
Mazee, ukiniambia tu nilikuona Kirk TV na nataka kukuja. Offer
mara moja. Kuna project yako mpya, Taraja. But before we do that project Taraja, there's something we always do on the morning show, and I just want us to take a look at what is on our notice board this particular week and this particular Friday in regards to our weekly notice board, where we give you an update of what is happening probably in the Presbyterian Church of East Africa. The notice board talks about the mandatory visit of the PCA in Kariobangi South. That is happening, that started yesterday and will conclude today at Kariobangi South Parish. And also want to notify you of a Women's Guild Leadership Conference that is set to start on the 5th to 8th of April this year, and you can be able to check out on that. And also coming up this coming week is the Youth Week that will start on the 4th of April up until the 10th, where all that week will be dwelling on matters to do with the youth. And that is what is on the notice board. And in studio Nikona Bensi, you can take it away. Taraja, new project. Before to cheze ngoma, tell us about Taraja.
Taraja is a word that means you need to be expectant.
Tumia kitu yenye watu wataelewa. Bora ieleweke.
Imetoka kwa tarajia, kuna kitu na expect. Yani I'm hoping for this and that. So mimi ninataraja I am hoping for something to happen in my life. Kwa sasa nimerealize sasa na struggle sana kwanza kimfuko. So watu wanapanda mlima. Hauko solo maze, tuko wengi. But kitu ya muhimu ni kitu ufai ku lose ni kitu inaitwa hope maze. Make sure you are hopeful that God ana plan, and whatever it is that you're going through, God akona plan na ata come through at the right time. So don't give up. Endelea kuwa na taraja, God ata come through.
Alright, and that is the point. Nataka tucheze hiyo ngoma tumalize nayo pia. As we sign out, as always, pleasure having you company right from the start of this program at 8 a.m. in the morning up until 10:30. Always be sure to catch us on our weekly episode of Kirk in the Morning every Friday. My name is Chris Sambu, but tunamaliza na Taraja. Lazima utarajie kitu mzuri. Take it away.
You know it's Bensi. Inabidi niliseme vile ninavyohisi, ni mengi nimepitia kwa ibilisi. Oh no, inabidi nikueleze jinsi hisia zako ibilisi hatozina. Hey, so mimi na testify kwake mambo yanasonga faster than I can deny. Hey, lakini mwisho majuto yatakufuata. Mimi na testify kwake mambo yanasonga faster than I can deny. Lakini mwisho majuto ya Mungu anadididimia dididimia imani Mola tunazidi miminia pa zidi miminia pa nini nataraja maisha yata change hapa hakuna haraka. Twende slow motion, twende slow motion kwake Christ hakuna haraka. Ni kwamba nakutoa shaka. Twende slow motion, twende slow motion. Nina taraja, nina taraja. Iblisi hapa akipita kati anarudishagi, wala kwangu dhahiri ametamalaki. Ndo maana mimi nina taraja. Mgaga na ukwa kama wali wake utoka ukani na imani tena sio dauta. Na hii ndo maana mimi nina taraja. Mungu anadididimia imani Mola tunazidi miminia pa zidi miminia pa Mungu anadididimia dididimia imani Mola tunazidi miminia pa zidi miminia pa mimi nina taraja. maisha yata change, hapa hakuna haraka. Twende slow, slow, slow motion. Twende slow, slow, slow motion. Kwake Christ hakuna haraka, ni kwamba na kutoa shaka. Twende slow, slow, slow motion. Twende slow, slow, slow motion. Nina ta, 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 taraja. Nina ta, 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 taraja. Ana didididimia didididimia imani Mola tunazidi mimi hapa zidi mimi hapa Mungu ana didididimia didididimia imani Mola tunazidi mimi hapa zidi mimi hapa kwake Christ hakuna haraka, ni bomba na kutoa shaka. Twende slow, slow, slow motion. Twende slow, slow, slow motion. Twende ta, 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 taraja. Nina ta, 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 ta,